Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room and you won't think twice about it. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark, completely dark. And something inside you still remembers that. Think about the last time you walked into a dark house alone. Your hand moved for the light switch before you even decided to reach for it. Your shoulders tensed. Your eyes scanned the corners of the room just for a second before you told yourself you were being silly. That reaction wasn't silly, it wasn't irrational, it was ancient. You call it a fear of the dark. But the real answer is far stranger. It isn't the darkness itself that your brain is afraid of. It's everything the darkness used to hide. For most of human history, darkness meant one thing. You could no longer see what was hunting you. Your ancestors didn't fear shadows because shadows are scary. They feared shadows because for millions of years, shadows were where death waited. Picture it. No electricity, no streetlights, no phone flashlight, just a small fire, if you were lucky, surrounded by an ocean of black. Beyond that firelight were lions, hyenas, leopards that could climb trees and drop onto you from above. And your eyes, the same eyes you're using right now, were built for daylight. Human night vision is weak compared to almost every major predator that hunted early humans. A lion can see roughly 6 times better than you in low light. A leopard can see even better than that. So when the sun went down, the hunters of the African savanna had the advantage, and humans, for once, were not the top of the food chain. They were prey. This is where your fear of the dark actually comes from. Not from ghost stories, not from horror movies. From a few million years spent as the slower, weaker-eyed animal in a world where something faster and better-eyed was often just outside the firelight. Researcher Daniel Kruger, who studies evolutionary psychology at the University of Michigan, has spent years looking at exactly which environments trigger fear in modern humans and why. His work found something striking. People consistently report more fear in environments with low visibility, few escape routes, and hidden areas where a threat could be lurking. Sound familiar? That's not a coincidence. That's a fear system that evolved for a specific job, and it's still doing that job long after the lions disappeared from your neighborhood. There's an old idea in ecology called the landscape of fear, first developed by ecologist Joel Brown. It describes how prey animals don't just react to predators. They map entire landscapes based on where danger is likely to be. Open, well-lit spaces feel safe. Dense, dark, enclosed spaces feel dangerous. Animals build this map instinctively, without ever being taught it. Humans built the exact same map. You still have it. It's why a well-lit parking lot feels fine. And the same parking lot at 2 a.m. with half the lights out feels completely different, even if nothing has actually changed except the light. Here's the part that surprises most people. This fear isn't just about predators attacking you directly. It's about something more basic, your ability to detect danger at all. In daylight, your eyes do almost all the work. You see a threat, you react. In darkness, that entire system breaks down. You can't see what's 10 feet away. You can't tell if that shape by the tree is a rock or something breathing. Your primary defense system, sight, gets switched off and nothing replaces it. Anthropologist and evolutionary psychologist John Tooby, along with his research partner Lita Cosmids, helped build the modern framework for understanding exactly this kind of response. Their research argues that many human emotions aren't random glitches. They're finely tuned adaptations, built by natural selection to solve very specific survival problems. Fear of the dark, in their framework, isn't a malfunction. It's a solution to the problem of being blind in a world full of things that could kill you. So why does this still happen to you thousands of years after the last leopard stopped hunting outside your bedroom window? Because evolution is slow, and modern life is fast. Your brain has had roughly 200,000 years to build and refine this alarm system. Streetlights have existed for about 200 years. Electric light in most homes is barely a century old. In evolutionary terms, that's not even a full second. Your ancestors' nervous system, the one you inherited, has had almost no time to update itself to a world where darkness is optional. This is why children are especially prone to fear of the dark, and why that fear tends to peak between the ages of 2 and 6. Researchers who study childhood anxiety, including psychologist Michael Vasey, have found that this age range lines up almost exactly with the period when children start developing the imagination and memory needed to picture unseen threats, but haven't yet built up enough real-world experience to reassure themselves that those threats usually aren't there. Their landscape of fear is still under construction, and it's building itself using instincts that are far older than the child is. Here's a question worth sitting with for a second. If darkness itself isn't dangerous anymore, at least not in your bedroom or your living room, then why hasn't the fear disappeared? Because your brain isn't actually responding to darkness. It's responding to uncertainty. Darkness is just the most efficient way to create uncertainty. It hides information. And an animal that evolved to survive by constantly gathering information about threats does not do well when that information gets cut off. This is where sleep comes in, and it's stranger than you'd expect. Primatologist Charles Nunn has studied how sleep patterns evolved across different primate species, and one of his key findings is that sleep itself is a massive vulnerability. When you're asleep, you are essentially unconscious and defenseless. No scanning for threats, no fleeing, just stillness. For a prey species or a species that was sometimes prey, that stillness had to be managed extremely carefully. Which is exactly why so many primates, including early humans, developed group sleeping behavior, nested sleeping sites, and light, easily interrupted sleep. Some researchers argue this is even part of why humans wake up multiple times a night, more than most other mammals. You're not broken. You're running old software designed to check every so often whether it's safe to keep sleeping. Darkness, then, wasn't just when predators hunted. It was when you were at your most defenseless, drifting in and out of the one state where your senses couldn't protect you. Now here's the twist most people don't expect. Fear of the dark isn't actually one single fear. It's a bundle of several older fears layered on top of each other, all pointing at the same trigger. There's fear of predators, which you've already heard about, but there's also a fear of the unknown itself, a broader psychological trait that shows up in humans across every culture ever studied. There's a fear of isolation, since being alone in the dark, cut off from your group, was historically far more dangerous than being alone in daylight. Because early humans relied heavily on group vigilance, more eyes meant more warning time. And there's a fear rooted in something even more basic, loss of control. In the dark, you can't verify your surroundings. You can't confirm you're safe. Your brain treats unconfirmed safety as a threat by default, because throughout almost all of human history, that default kept people alive. This is also why so many people report that their fear of the dark gets worse specifically when they're alone, and noticeably better around other people, even if those other people can't actually see any better in the dark than they can. It's not about visibility, it's about the ancient math of group protection. More bodies, historically, meant more chances someone spots the threat first. So think about your own experience for a second. Has the feeling ever hit you strongest not in a genuinely dangerous place, but somewhere ordinary, like your own hallway, the moment the lights went out? That gap between how safe a place actually is and how unsafe it suddenly feels is the entire story of this video, compressed into a single moment. That gap is ancient instinct colliding with modern reality. And this is a good place to actually ask you something. Somewhere below this video, tell us about the specific moment, a hallway, a basement, a walk to your car, where the dark still gets to you, even though you know logically there's nothing there. Naming it tends to loosen its grip a little, and it also helps you see just how many other people share the exact same reaction. There's one more layer to this that most explanations skip entirely, and it might be the strangest part of all. Your fear of the dark isn't just about predators that are physically present, it's about predators that might be present. The uncertainty itself is the trigger, not the confirmation. This means your brain in the dark defaults to assuming danger until proven otherwise, rather than assuming safety until proven otherwise. That single flipped assumption, danger first instead of safety first, is one of the most important survival adaptations your ancestors ever developed, and it cost almost nothing to carry forward, so evolution kept it. A false alarm, jumping at a shadow that turns out to be nothing, cost your ancestors a few seconds of adrenaline. Failing to notice a real predator cost them their life. The math only ever favored one direction. Assume the worst, check twice, survive. That's not a flaw in your nervous system. That's the entire point of it. So the next time the lights go out and your stomach tightens, just a little. Before you've even had a conscious thought about it, you're not being irrational. You're not overreacting. You are running a program that kept your ancestors alive across an almost unimaginable stretch of time, through ice ages, through predators far more dangerous than anything left on Earth today, through countless nights, where the difference between waking up and not waking up came down to noticing something in time. The dark hasn't changed. What's hiding in it has. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. And in that half second before the light comes on, in that tiny flicker of tension, you'll barely even notice. A few 100,000 years of survival will still be wide awake inside you.